Namaste students. Vidya. I, JVWU Dr. Vajranika, Assistant Professor Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the methods of studying learners' behavior at the adolescent stage. Adolescent thoughts become more abstract, logistic, or idealistic. They become more capable of examining their own thoughts, others' thoughts, and what others are thinking about them. Adolescents developing ability to reason them give a new level of cognitive and social awareness. In contrast to the trial and error approach used by the children in early stage of development, adolescents thinking becomes systematic in solving the problem. They think of the problem causing actions, why something is happening, and the way it is, or systematically seek solutions. I had called this type of logistic thinking hypothetically deductive reasoning. We can observe it by the psychologists use a variety of methods like observation, interview, experimentation, and case study to collect the data. The aim of this method, which may be appropriate for different research purposes also. For example, you can observe the behavior of a child watching a movie, a football match, or you can conduct a experiment to see if the children taking an examination do better in the classroom in which they had been studying the subject, or the cause-effect relationship. You can correlate intelligence with the say self-esteem or prediction purpose. You can use psychological tests to find out the individual difference. You can conduct a case study on development of a language in a child. The main characteristic method can be described like observation. Observation can be done by selection, recording, and analyzing the data. So observation is a very powerful tool of psychological inquiry. It is an effective method for describing the behavior. So we for our day-to-day activity, we remain busy or observing, or we remain busy with the observing numerous things around us by the day. Many times we don't take notice of what we are seeing or what we have seen. We see but do not observe. We remain aware of only a few things that we see daily. So you have to experience it if it is carefully observed a person or event or something. You came to know many interesting things about the person or the event. A scientific observation in many respects is a selection. That is, the psychologists do not observe all the behavior of as they encounter. Rather than they select a particular behavior for observation. For example, you may be interested to know how the child is studying in class 11, spending their time in the school. As a researcher, you might think that you have a fairly good idea about what's happening in the school. You might appear a list of activity and go to the school with a view to find out the occurrence. Alternatively, you might think that you don't know what happens in the school, and by your observation, you would like to discover it. The second is the recording. While observing, the researcher records the selected behavior using different means such as marking, tallying for the already identified behavior, or whatever they come across, taking note and describing each activity in a greater detail with symbols, shots, or photographs or video records. So analysis of the data. After the observation, it has been seen that psychologists analyze whatever they have recorded in a view to derive a mean out of it. So the type of observation can be naturalistic or controlled observation, non-participant or participant observation, control observation when observations are done in a natural or real life setting. It was if it is a school environment or we can call it as a naturalistic observation. In this case, the observer make no effort to control or manipulate the situation for making the observation. This type of observation is conducted in hospital, homes, schools, daycare centers, etc. So, however, many a times you might need to control certain factors determining the behavior of the on the focus of your study. Non, which may be conducted under the laboratory condition. Non-participant or participant observation. Observation can be done in two ways. One, you may decide to observe the person or event from a distance. Two, the observation may be become a part of group being observed. In case the person began observed may not be aware of he or she observed. For example, you may be observing the pattern of interaction between the teacher and student in a particular class. There are many ways of achieving this goal. You can install a video camera or record the classroom activities, or you may see later and analyze. Or alternatively, you may decide to sit at a corner and without interfering and have a notice on the participation of everyday activity of the children. So this type of observation is non-participation observation. The danger in this type of sets that maybe the fact that someone, an outsider is sitting or observing may bring a change in the behavior of the student and teacher. In participant observation, the observer become a part of the school or a group or a people being observed. In the participant observation, the observer takes some time to establish a rapport with the group so that it start accepting him or her as a part of group member. So, however, the degree of involvement of observer with the group begins would be depending upon the focus on the study. The advantage of the observation method may be enables the researcher to study the people and their behavior naturalistic situation as a talker. However, the observation methods is the labor intensive and time consuming and susceptible to observers' bias. So the observer should record the behavior and its happenings and should not interpret with the behavior at the time of observation itself. Next is the interview. In the interview is a sense of oral questionnaire in which the formal meeting between the two or more persons for specific purpose or subject. Interview is an important technique to find out the personal information from the subject in face-to-face contact. On the basis of interview results, most of the selection for the different, like you can say, job or admissions in various courses are made. So interview are of two types: unstructured and structured. In unstructured interview, the interviewer is free to ask the candidate any questions on any subject relevant to the situation. The primary condition of this type of interview is that of the perfect rapport is to be established between the subject and to freely express their feelings. In structured interview, a systematic predetermined approach is adopted and the subjects are uniformly asked similar questions and generally a list of questions are being prepared beforehand for all the subjects to be answered by the pre-planning questions. So the type of interviews here function-wise or diagnostic clinical research. Number of persons participating in a group, role of the interviewer or interview or non-directive or so it may be functional, participational, role. Function is the diagnostic, clinical or research. Participation is individual, group or single interview or panel interview. So characteristic of an interview is a person-to-person relation, a mean of communication with each other, awareness of the past of the at least one person about the purpose of the interview. So here, preparation for the interview, unfolding the problems, joining, working out of the problem, closing of the interview, evaluation, and follow-up. So this technique has an advantage also face-to-face relationship and thus the creating a positive environment or information is highly reliable or confidential data can also be gathered. This advantage is time consuming and expensive and it demands expertization in a particular part of the interviewer. And a problem of the maybe interviewer bias also or it is not applicable in all kind of subjects. Thank you. This session is powered by 2.0 Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. If you have any queries, please write down in the comment box. We will resolve it in the problem solving session.